Hi everyone, and welcome to the channel. My name is Nick Cosgrove, and I'm back with this week's No Filter Q&A. This is the episode where I answer all questions related to diet, training, and supplementation that I've received over the last 7 days from our in-house clients, online clients, as well as a few of our online followers. Remember, if you have any questions related to your nutritional plan, your workouts, supplements you're taking, not taking, considering taking, please feel free to email me your questions at nick@foreverfitperformance.com. You can also DM them to me on my Instagram at @fitcosgrove_. Okay, so we have quite a few questions to get through for this week's Q&A, so let's get started on question number 1. Hi, Nick. I have a sharp pain in my lower back whenever I try doing bent over barbell rows and T-bar rows. Is there any way to fix this issue, or should I just stop doing these exercises during my back workouts? I wouldn't recommend taking these exercises out of your back workouts. I personally think T-bar rows and bent over barbell rows are excellent exercises to incorporate into any back program. I use both of them for my own back program as well. Now, I don't work with you, so I don't know exactly where throughout your workout you're incorporating these exercises. However, what I'd recommend doing if you're not already doing this is putting any exercises that require you to bend over, like bent over barbell rows, T-bar rows, hyper extensions, towards the later part of your workout, towards the middle or the end of your workout. So I usually like to warm up my clients with a lot of cable work first. So whether that be lat pull downs, V-bar rows, close grip pull downs, reverse grip pull downs, something that just warms the back up. That's not going to put a lot of strain on the L4, L5 region, the lumbar region, the lower back. And then as we continue throughout the workout, 20, 30 minutes into the workout, then I start throwing in T-bar rows, bent over barbell rows, hyper extensions, anything that's going to put that strain on that lower back. Because by that point, people are warmed up. And that's the way I train as well. So that's one thing I'd recommend doing. Another thing I'd recommend doing is making sure that you're strengthening your core. And how you do that is by incorporating at least 3 or 4 different abdominal exercises in your weekly workouts. Training your abs, once or twice a week, but making sure you're doing a variation of abdominal work, whether that be hanging leg raises, reverse crunches, bicycles, towel crunches on the Swiss ball, anything that just works the transverse abdominals, the rectus abdominals, and your intercostals and obliques. So you want to strengthen your core as well, in addition to your spinal erectors. Another great exercise for strengthening your spinal erectors would be hyper extensions, right? That's a great exercise as well. If you don't have a hyper extension machine that you can use, you can also do that on a Swiss ball. There's a video on my Instagram up right now that you can see in my stories of myself doing hyper extensions on a Swiss ball. So that's a great exercise to help strengthen that lumbar region. But that's how I do it. I wouldn't necessarily take those exercises out of your program. If you're putting them in at the beginning of your workout, I'd recommend saving them towards the middle or the tail end of your workout once your body's warmed up. Don't just go right into a bent over exercise. Same thing I tell a lot of my clients who have lower back issues when they squat. I say, okay, we're not going to start you with squats right away. We're going to start you with lunges. Maybe we'll start you with some walking dynamic lunges, or maybe we'll do some static lunges, or maybe we'll do some side shuffle step ups. Just something before we get into that squat rack that's going to help warm up not just the lower back, but the entire body. Try that out and see. But I wouldn't recommend taking those exercises out because those are great exercises. Bent over barbell rows and T-bar rows, those are standard exercises, and you really want to put them in. Those are your bread and butter exercises for building a good back. So if you're not doing those exercises, you should be doing those exercises, but just make sure you're putting them in the middle or towards maybe the tail end of your workout, your back workout. All right, next question. Nick, my traps are really tight, and as a result, I can't train my shoulders without experiencing severe pain. I'm now even having problems training my triceps. Do you think I should take some time away from the gym to let the area rest and recover? To answer this question honestly, I don't think taking time away from the gym is going to help this issue. Tight traps are very common, especially if you have a job that's, say you're working at a desk all day and you're typing on a computer, or even if you have a job that's, let's say you're a chef, for example, and you're cooking all day, you're bent over, you're cooking, you're chopping, you're doing all these things, anything that requires you to pronate your shoulders forward, that's going to cause tight traps, right? Tight rhomboids, and that can pull on the neck erectors. That's very common. I see this issue all the time with a lot of my clients who have desk jobs. So I don't recommend taking time off unless it's a severe injury that happened and you see you were in a car accident or you fell or something that was a blunt force to you, that area that was impacting, yeah, I'd say, yeah, take a few days or a few weeks off from the gym. But this sounds more like a chronic issue. So I don't think taking any time away from the gym is going to help. There are a few things that can help, though, when dealing with tight traps. One, I would definitely recommend seeing a good qualified RMT at least once or twice a week. If you can afford it, twice a week. That's going to be so beneficial, and make sure the person that you're seeing understands that your traps are the main area you want to be focused on. Your traps, your rhomboids, traps being your trapezius. Okay, that's very important. Another thing I would do, there's a good active release stretch that one of my clients who's a physiotherapist taught me years ago, and I use it for all my clients. I'll demonstrate it here. One of it is, so what you do is you turn your head to one direction, you retract and you depress the shoulder blade down, and then you turn your head to the other direction, you retract and you depress your shoulder down. Okay, now what you do that a few times. You rotate back and forth, retract and depress. And what that'll do, it'll help loosen up those shoulder blades, and it'll help loosen up the trapezius muscles, the rhomboids, the anterior deltoid, the medial deltoid, and the posterior deltoid. Okay. One of the reasons a lot of people have tight traps too is because the way that they sleep. A lot of people, we tend to sleep like this, or we sleep like this, right? We tend to pick one side. And I see that all the time. I see clients coming to the gym and they're walking like this. They don't even notice. Of course, I notice it because it's a postural misalignment. So we want to correct that. I even catch myself doing it at times. So when you're dealing with that area, I would say don't neglect it, because what's going to happen is you're going to formate more scar tissue in that area. So if anything, you want to work it more. You want to be doing exercises like dumbbell shoulder press, dumbbell lateral raises, rear delt raises, upright rows. Those are all exercises that you should be able to do in planes of motion that your body should be able to do pain-free. So what I recommend is booking in at least if you can, once a week with an RMT, but preferably twice a week. And then working on that movement I just showed you with the depression and retraction. And again, don't be afraid to go light on your shoulders. I have clients that have issues with their shoulders. We still do the workouts. We just go a little bit lighter, but I still take them through the planes of motion. Don't let your ego take over and go, this is too light. Just go through those planes of motion. You should be able to do a shoulder press, a lateral raise, a rear delt raise, and an upright row. Those are all movements for your shoulders, and those are movements that we want your shoulders to be able to do. So that's what I would recommend doing. I would not advise you to take time away from the gym, because I don't think that's going to fix the issue. Okay. And if anything, I think that's going to make the issue worse, because the more time you take away from the gym, it's not going to rest and recover. The more scar tissue is going to form up in that area. You're probably creating the issue from doing bad habits throughout the day at your job, right? And that's probably day-to-day activities. That's what usually happens with shoulder. That's where I see a lot of shoulder issues, like shoulder impingement. It's usually caused by daily activities, things that we do repetitively over and over again, whether it's the way we're sleeping or the way we're working for 10 hours a day. Very rarely do I see issues that are caused from working out in the gym. Because when you work out in the gym, everything you do is controlled, and it's for a very short duration. If you're doing a dumbbell shoulder press, you're only going for 12, 15 reps. You're not doing that for 8 hours. You're doing 12 to 15 reps, 3 to 4 sets, you move on to your next exercise. So usually when I see issues with the shoulders, such as the issue this person is describing, it's usually caused by something that you're doing over and over again. So whether that be sleeping or the way that you're working, if you're working at a desk, like I said, you're typing, or if you're someone who's like a chef, for example, you're cooking, you're chopping, something where you're pronating your shoulders forward all day, okay? So try those things out and see if they work. But yeah, I mean, don't stop training your shoulders. Okay, next question. Hi, Nick. Curious to know what your ideal client is to train. Do you prefer training athletes or just everyday people who want to lose weight and get into shape? I like training people that don't bitch and complain. That's who I like training. I don't like training people who, oh, I can't do this, this hurts, or, oh, can we go light today because, I'm really hungover, or no, I don't like training people like that. And luckily for me, I don't have to train people like that anymore. My roster is full of people who want to work out, who want to train with me. And when we start, they're good to go. As far as whether I prefer training with athletes or just everyday people, I like training with everyone. I want to train with, doesn't matter to me if someone's training for a bodybuilding show, or if someone's just training because they want to look good for their wedding, or if someone's just training because they want to look good for the beach. I take every person's goal just as serious. And it really comes down to the person I'm working with, if we're compatible. It's like a relationship. There's been clients in the past that I haven't been compatible with. Maybe my workouts are a little too intense for them, and that's fine. They've gone on to another trainer. I don't take that personally. It is what it is. But my clients know when they're going to train with me on the floor, I'm going to give it their all, right? Whether that's a 45-minute session or a 60-minute session, we go balls to wall, very minimum rest, high intensity. And I don't care what your goal is. I'm going to push you very hard because I want to get the most out of that session. Most people that work with me train with me 4 to 5 times a week. So that doesn't give me that many hours in a week. That's only 4 or 5 hours a week, right? You think of how many hours are in a day versus how many hours in a week. I don't get that much time with them. So I want to make sure every single second we spend in that gym is spent to their advantage, right? So I don't have a particular type of client that I like to train. As long as that person is willing to put in the work and is willing to listen and follow the plan and execute the plan accordingly, I'll work with them, okay? I've never really had to turn down a client before because most people who enlist in our services, they know they mean business. I take my clients' workouts just as seriously as I take my own workouts. So I might not be the trainer for everyone. You know, if someone wants a nice, cushy, easy workout, I'm definitely not that trainer. I won't do that. I'm going to push you as hard as you possibly can. I'm going to help you achieve your goals. But no, I could care less if someone is training for a bodybuilding show or trying to, you know, maybe I've just got a few new clients actually on my roster who are hockey players. And we're doing some dryland training, and a few of those guys are actually hoping to make the NHL next year. They're young guys. They're 16, 17 years old. You know, and I take their workouts very seriously. I know they've got their career ahead of them. They want a career in the NHL. So I'm going to be working with these guys. And I don't take, you know, I take their goals seriously, but I don't take their goals any more seriously than one of my clients who says, hey, Nick, you know, I just want to lose 10, 15 pounds before my sister's wedding in October, November. To me, I take everyone's goals just as seriously. And so whether you're an athlete or not, I'm going to still give you my 100% undivided attention. And I like training everyone. And I will always keep my doors open to anyone who wants to work with me. All right, next question. Hey, Nick, why does my weight go up so much on the scale the day after a cheat meal? I had 3 slices of pizza and a slice of cake on Friday night, and my weight shot up 6 pounds. How much of this weight is fat? Of the 6 pounds, I would say 0 of it is fat. Look, if you're following a very clean diet throughout the week and you have 1 cheat meal, and that's not a very big cheat meal, 3 slices of pizza and a slice of cake, what's going to happen is your body doesn't know what to do with that food. That food is full of sodium, is full of simple carbohydrates. And what's going to happen right away, your body's going to soak all that food up like a sponge, and it's going to hold on to it. And that's going to cause water retention. It's going to cause bloating. It's going to cause weight gain. Okay. So that's why I always advise my online clients who work with me to have their cheat meals like this person's doing this is a new client who's working with me online, to have their cheat meals on a Friday or Saturday night, because as most people know, my online clients send me their weekly check-ins on Friday mornings. My American clients send me their online check-ins on Thursday mornings. So I always tell clients, have your cheat meal on Friday or Saturday night. And don't worry about how much your weight goes up, because the time we get around to the following Friday, your weight's going to go back down. And the reason your weight goes up is, as I mentioned, there's going to be sodium in that food. There's simple carbohydrates. Your body's going to hold on to that water weight for a good 2 or 3 days. Now, the reason that happens more with someone who's on a diet is because when you're on a diet for 6, 7 days, you're eating fairly clean. So think of it like a very clean house. If you have a very clean house and I come in and I mess it all up, well, it's gonna be a messy house all of a sudden. It's gonna throw you off disarray. It's gonna throw your house in disarray. Same thing with your body. If you're following a very clean diet, your body's like a machine. It just operates like a machine. You're getting fed every 3 or 4 hours. You're going to the gym. You're working out consistently. You're going regularly in the bathroom. Everything's working perfectly. And then you have a cheat meal, and all of a sudden your body's like, "What the fuck?" It doesn't know what to do. It goes into a state of shock. So it just retains all that water, all that fluid. And as I said, you get bloated. A lot of people experience like gas. but it doesn't last. It lasts for maybe 2 or 3 days, and then all that weight's gone again. So I always tell my clients who work me online, don't even weigh yourself the next day after a cheat meal. Unless I'm working with someone for a show, then I'll ask them to weigh themselves just so I can figure out, okay, how long do I have to stop their cheat meals prior to them stepping on stage? But for most people who I work with, I tell them, don't even bother weighing yourself the day after a cheat meal. It's irrelevant. Because it will, in some cases, it can discourage people. So I promise you those 6 pounds, if you're following the plan that I've given you, which I'm sure you are, don't worry about it. You will drop those 6 pounds, and you'll probably drop another 1 or 2 pounds by the time your next check-in comes in. Okay. So the main reason for that is because you're following such a clean diet, your body's in a state of shock. It goes into shock, it holds on to the water, it holds on to the sodium, and then you're going to hold on to that extra weight for a good, like, as I said, for 2 to 3 days. Some people can lose it within 1 day. Some people take a little longer. I find women take a little longer than men to lose that weight, but it will come off. I promise you. And of the 6 pounds, I can guarantee you that none of it's fat. You can't gain fat that quickly. It's impossible. Remember, guys, 3,500 calories in 1 pound. Think about that for a second. 3,500 calories in 1 pound. So if you gain 6 pounds, think how many calories you'd have to consume. You're looking at over 20,000 calories right there. It's almost impossible to consume 20,000 calories in one meal. I don't think anyone could do it. There's no way. So you did not put on 6 pounds of fat. You did not even put on 1 pound of fat. It'll be gone by the time you do your next check-in. So don't worry about it. All right. Next question. Hi, Nick. Do you have any experience? Oh, sorry. Do you have any clients who are experiencing long COVID? And if so, how do you train them in the gym? I'm currently on month 3 of recovery and have no energy to train. I do have a few clients experiencing long COVID. It's actually more, I'm just trying to think of how many of my clients right now are experiencing it, but I would say that it's more common with my clients who are over the age of 55, who are experiencing long COVID. And so what we've been doing are lighter workouts. We're still keeping the workouts intense, but we're going a little bit lighter, and I'm going a little bit less volume on the exercise selection. That's about it. And obviously, I mean, we know with COVID, it affects the lungs. So one of the things I'm noticing for a lot of my clients who are experiencing long COVID is that the recovery between sets is not as quick as it was before they got COVID. But as far, they're still working out. I mean, the workouts are definitely more challenging for them for sure. But they're still in the gym and they're training hard. You know, I always tell people the weight that you're lifting is irrelevant. As long as it's heavy for you, you're going to get results. As long as the workouts are intense for you, you're going to get results. If you're someone who does a set, you play on your phone for 5-10 minutes, you do another set for 5-10, no, you're not going to get results. But if you're pushing yourself to the best of your ability, and yeah, you're like, you know what, Nick, I need another 30-45 seconds extra because I need to recover before I can do this next set correctly, that's fine. You're going to get results, so don't worry about it. But yeah, I mean, that's one of the things with long COVID. It sucks. And, you know, I feel bad for a lot of my clients who are dealing with it right now. I have quite a few clients who are in that situation, but we've just been keeping the weights light, the volume a little bit lower. The workouts are still intense though. I mean, we're still pushing like all out. We're going all out to the best of their ability. But again, you're dealing with something right now that's it's a really hard virus to deal with, right? It's difficult. It's challenging. So if you're experiencing long COVID, I would suggest, you know, just push your workouts to the best of your ability. Go to the gym as long as you're no longer contagious, but you want to push yourself. And don't worry about how much weight you were lifting 3 months ago. You will get back there again. But for now, go to the gym, go through the movements, get a sweat. If you can, do a little bit of cardio. Just keep yourself going. Keep your body going. Don't stop. Don't just give up and say, well, I can't do the same weight, so what's the point of even going? Because then you're just going to go 3, 4, 5 steps backwards, right? So instead of going 5 steps backwards, stay on the plan, and at least you're going to stay consistent with your workouts. Yeah, you might not be lifting as heavy. Yeah, you might not be doing as much exercises as you were before. You'll get back there again. It's the same thing I tell people who took time off the gym during COVID. I said, you will get back there again. And those people are all back to where they were before COVID even happened. And it didn't take long. So try to have that laser focus, stay on track. Don't get discouraged by your weights going down in the gym or the fact that you need longer to recover between sets, or you might need an extra rest day or two. Don't just stay focused and just try to do the best you can in the gym. And I promise you that as long as you do that, you will maintain the current results you have. If you stop completely, you're going to lose those results, and it's going to be really hard to get back into the gym once once the long COVID has passed. Okay, so don't give up, keep going. Lower your weights, keep your intensity high, take a little bit rest between sets, a little bit longer rest between sets, but I promise you, you'll get back to where you were. All right. Next question. Hi, Nick. I've got 2 questions for you. Number 1, who trains harder, men or women? Number 2, who trains harder, millennials or baby boomers? Ooh. Okay, so who trains harder, men or women? Okay, I have men that train really hard. I have women that train really hard. But if I were to say on particular muscle groups, when it comes to training the lower body, I'm sorry, guys, women train legs way harder than men do. That's one of the reasons that I usually, when I do my own workouts, I usually train legs with a woman, because women train their legs hard. Yeah, of course, not all women train their legs hard, just like not all men don't train their legs hard. But generally speaking, in my 20 plus years of training people, both men and women on the floor, I noticed that women train their lower body much harder than men train their lower body. I just think there's more incentive for women. Women want to build the better butt. They want to build their quads, their glutes, their hams. Guys, a lot of guys just don't care about that. You know, they're like, oh, I wear jeans all day. Nobody sees my legs. I don't care. I just want to have big biceps, big chests, and a 6-pack. So when it comes to lower body, I would say that women definitely train their lower body harder than men. When it comes to upper body, I would say it's about even. I mean, I have a lot of women that when they first started working with me, they didn't want to train their upper body. They didn't want to get too big. And then once I explained it's impossible for you to get too big unless you're using anabolic steroids, or if you're a genetic freak, they understand, they're willing to train your upper body. But I worked with a lot of women over the years who were very hesitant to train their upper body because they didn't want to get an overly developed, upper body physique. So they didn't want to get overly developed biceps or delts. They didn't want that. And once I explained to them, it's not going to happen. They don't have the testosterone in their body to produce those size of muscles. They were more comfortable training their upper body, and they understood why it was important. But so I would say that men and women that I work with train upper body evenly, but when it comes to the lower body, I'm sorry guys, but women definitely outtrain us. They do. I have a few guys that train their legs really hard. Me being one of them, I train my legs very hard in the gym, but I think it's because I've always trained my legs with a woman. And I'm always like, holy crap, look how much weight she's lifting, or look at the volume that she's using, and look, she's not even resting that long. And so that motivates me to keep up with my legs as well. So yeah, I would say that with the upper body, it's even. With the lower body, it goes to the ladies. And the second question was question 2, who trains harder, millennials or baby boomers? I know most people think I'm going to say baby boomers here. And I think the millennials get a bad rep, because I work with a lot of millennials who are really hard workers. I've got a lot of women and men who are millennials who started their own companies. They're very successful. They're hard workers. So I don't want to put that stigma that all millennials are lazy and they don't do anything. They just play on their phones all day. Do the baby boomers have a higher threshold for pain? Maybe, yeah. I mean, I work with a lot of baby boomers who I know they're in pain. I know they're going through a lot of, health issues, and they're still pushing their workouts. They never complain, but I've got a lot of millennials like that too. So I can't speak and say that, millennials are lazy, because the millennials that work with me are not lazy. Now, are millennials lazy versus baby boomers? I mean, that's the common perception that they are, because they don't work as hard. They don't seem to have as strong of a work ethic as the baby boomers had. I mean, there's an argument about this, but when it comes to the gym, and I can only speak on behalf of my clients, the millennials that I work with train very hard. So I can't say, well, no, they're lazy, because they're not. In my experience, still working in commercial gyms myself, working out in commercial gyms, yes, I've noticed that a lot of millennials spend more times on their phones than baby boomers do. But maybe that's because baby boomers didn't grow up with phones. So they do a set and they rest very minimal time in between. They go back and they do a set again. Whereas I see a lot of millennials, if I go to visit a commercial gym, yes, they do spend a lot of time on their phones or chatting with their friends, taking selfies in the mirror. And I don't really see many baby boomers doing that. But I'm not going to sit here and say that baby boomers train harder than millennials on my roster, because I would say that they both train equal. So you're not going to get that from me. I would say that's equal based on my experience with the people I work with. All right. Next question. Question 7. Nick, I read your blog, Let's Talk About Sex. Well, that's an old blog. Oh, and really enjoyed it. I just wondering if you ever tell your clients that they should be training for the bedroom as well as for their health. Absolutely. Why else? That's the number one reason you should be training. Yeah, of course, you should be training not just for your overall health and for your physique. You should be training for a fantastic sex life, right? Why not? If that's extra incentive to get your ass in the gym, go for it. Of course. I mean, if you're fit, you're healthy, you've got great cardiovascular, you've developed a great physique and you're confident in your physique, you're confident being naked. Yeah, of course. I think training for sexual health is incredibly important, and it's a great incentive to get your ass in the gym. It is. I mean, not to go into too much details here about sex, but yeah, if you're having regular sex, you're going to be, if you want to have a good, healthy, active sex life, in my opinion, you need to be fit. You can't be, 100 pounds overweight and lethargic and, just always tired. And that's going to affect your libido. It is. We know this. Most people who work out have a strong libido, both men and women. So yeah, I do tell my clients that, and they know I'm very open to discussing sex. And I say, that's an extra incentive for you to want to work out. Working out is going to increase your libido. It's going to give you a better sex life, 100%. So would I recommend that to clients as a reason to get into the gym? Yes, absolutely. It's not my number one reason. I mean, obviously there's things like your overall health is the most important, and your fitness, but you want to look good, you want to feel good. And let's face it, I mean, sex is good for us. We know this. Sex is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. So yes, I do tell my clients quite often, actually, I'm like, don't stop your workouts just because you want to, you're feeling tired, or like, oh, I'm happy with the way I look. You want to keep a good, healthy cardiovascular system, good muscular system, and you want a good sex life. I would say get your ass in the gym at least 4 or 5 times a week. That's my personal opinion on that. Yes. That's funny. That was an old blog too. So I'm curious as to how, it came up in my Facebook memories. Okay, I see. Okay, yeah, because that was a blog from about, I think, 2 years ago. Interesting. Okay. Okay, Nick, Nick, what you've got bumping through your headphones right now? I need a new playlist for the gym. Right now, I'm listening to a lot of Motley Crue and Def Leppard. Yeah, I think I'm a little bit of Poison as well. So I'm really hitting the 80s. Oh, and a little bit of Scorpions and a little bit of Bon Jovi. So I'm really hitting kind of like the 80s rock, punk rock right now. I'm going through that phase. I go through different phases with the music. So sometimes I like some old, like late 80s, early 90s hip hop, and then I'll go to the 80s classic rock, punk rock. I kind of like that genre. I'm not really a big pop fan. I'm not really into the boy bands or the Justin Biebers or the Ariana Grande or any of that stuff. And that's not my type of music. I don't really like that stuff. But yeah, I mean, I love, I'm even going to Motley Crue's concert here in Vancouver, and I think it's in September. I got tickets for it. So Motley Crue, Def Leppard, and Poison on tour together. So I got tickets for that. But man, I love, like, Kickstart My Heart, Animal, Live Wire. You can go on. These are songs I love, and the songs I work out to. So that's what I've got playing in my mix right now. Throughout the day at the gym, I'll play a mixture of things for my clients. Sometimes I'll play rock, I'll play hip hop, I'll play pop, depending on who's in the room or what my clients want to hear. But personally, myself right now, what I'm lifting to, yeah, Def Leppard, Motley Crue, Poison, Bon Jovi, all 80s. That's what I'm listening to right now. All right, next question. Hi, Nick. I took 3 months off from the gym due to work, moving, and family commitments. I just started back, but I'm so weak. How did I lose all my muscle so quickly, and how long will it take me to build it back up? You most likely didn't lose that much muscle at all. What you did lose, though, is what I call the glycogen factor. And I've mentioned this before in previous Q&As. Glycogen is like oxygen for your muscles. So when you're lifting in the gym, let's say you're doing a bench press, glycogen allows you to push out those extra 3 or 4 reps in the gym. Whereas if you're stopped working out for like 3 to 4 months, your body stops producing that amount of glycogen. So what happens is those 3 to 4 extra reps that you were getting, your body can't do that anymore because there's no more glycogen in your body. Your body only produces glycogen if it has a reason to do so. And that reason is lifting weights, right? So if you stop lifting weights, your body stops producing glycogen. Another problem is that your body's ability to get rid of lactic acid is not as efficient if you're not working out with weights. So what happens if a lot of my clients who take, let's say, a month off from the gym, they've gone away on a business trip, they come back, they haven't done anything, they notice that they're significantly weaker when they come back. And even though their physique looks about the same, they don't look like they've actually lost any muscle, and they probably haven't lost any muscle. What they have lost is their ability to flush out lactic acid as efficient and their ability to build up glycogen as efficient. So when I always tell people who are coming back to the gym, I say, don't get frustrated. It's going to take about, I would say, about 2 to 3 weeks for most people to get back to where they were before they left the gym. Now, obviously, if you took a year off from the gym, it's going to take you longer. But in your case, it's only been 3 months. So I would say within 2 or 3 weeks, you're going to be back to lifting the weights you were lifting before. Another thing you want to make sure is that your diet's in check. So if you're back training on a regular basis, you have to make sure that you're getting enough protein in throughout all your meals throughout the day so you can build up those muscle bellies and the protein synthesis as quickly as possible to get you back to doing those weights. Okay. But that's most likely the reason why you're not lifting as much weight as before. Did you lose muscle? Yeah, you may have lost 1 or 2 pounds of muscle, but your body doesn't go into a catabolic state right as soon as you stop training. It doesn't work like that. There's a lot of people, especially retired bodybuilders, who might take up to 6 months off from the gym when they retire, and then they go back into it, and they may have lost a few pounds of muscle, but there's muscle memory. The muscle comes back very quickly. So you're not starting from square one again. But the most important thing is don't try to get to those weights too quickly. Just let your body build up again naturally. Make sure your diet's in check and just do it progressively from day to day in the gym. And you'll notice that I can't give you an exact timeline, but for most people I work with, it takes about 2 to 3 weeks. I'll give you a perfect example. About a year and a half ago, I had my appendix removed, so I didn't train with weights, any weights at all, for 4 weeks. No weight training whatsoever. When I got back to the gym, the first 3 or 4 workouts, it felt like a car hit me. Every workout, I was so sore, and it was so frustrating because, I'm used to squatting, let's say 3 plates aside. I could barely squat 1 plate aside, but my legs still looked big and full. I didn't lose any muscle, but what I did lose was the glycogen factor, and my body's ability to get rid of that lactic acid wasn't as efficient. So when I was on, say, rep 10 or 11, my legs started to burn like crazy, right? And now it actually makes you a little bit more humble, and it makes you have a little bit more empathy, for beginners in the gym, because you can see what beginners go through and understand that someone who's new to the gym is going through this exact same thing, right? So just give it time, but I promise you it'll come back as long as you're consistent with both your diet and training. But I would say if you want your weights to get back up again as quickly as possible, my recommendation is to just make sure that your diet is in check. Make sure you're feeding your body protein every 3 to 4 hours. Get those complex carbohydrates in, and make sure you're giving yourself enough healthy fats as well. That's very important. And that's the best way to help replenish the glycogen storage. And just keep training, your 4 to 5 day training split, whatever you're doing in the gym. And I promise you within 2 to 3 weeks, your weights will be back up again. All right. Okay. Last question of the day. Nick, I have a serious problem with sugar. I feel as if I need it all the time. I'm super overweight and worried that I might become diabetic. Do you have a plan that you use with your clients to help them wean off sugar? Yes, I have a few protocols I use with sugar addicts. Again, this depends on, it depends on the person I'm working with, and B, it depends on, okay, well, what type of sugar addict are they? Are they someone who's having a lot of natural sugar in their diet, or is it someone who's having a lot of processed sugar in their diet? Too much natural sugar is not good for us either. I work with people who have like fruit in every meal. I'm like, oh, that's way too much fruit. It's way too much sugar, so you got to find that balance. Just because something is labeled as healthy, like fruit, doesn't mean that you can eat unlimited amounts of it, right? There is sugar, so you have to watch that. Now, when I'm working with someone who is a sugar addict, let's say processed sugar, say they have to have candy every 2 to 3 hours to help keep their insulin level and their blood sugar levels stable because they feel like they're going to get tired, they get very fatigued very quickly, they get very moody. That's a little bit more complex. And so what I'll usually do, there's a few protocols that I use with people. One of the most commonly used protocol that I'll use with someone who has a sugar addiction is I will slowly wean them off sugar by incorporating more healthy fats into the diet. So I'll still keep sugar in their diet and I'm not going to take it away from them right away. But what I'll do is I'll lower their sugar gradually and I'll increase their healthy fats gradually at the same time. So I might add in something, let's say like more almonds or more walnuts into their nutritional plan, a little bit more peanut butter, almond butter, salmon if they can eat fish, omega-3 eggs, avocados. And what that will do, it'll help actually regulate blood sugar levels and stabilize the insulin levels. But it doesn't happen overnight. This is like a 3 to 4 week process. Remember, there's that saying it takes 21 days to develop a habit, and there is some truth to that. I notice if most people, if they follow the plan that I lay out for them, it usually takes them about 3 to 4 weeks, and then they start to kick that sugar habit. It doesn't happen right away though. Sugar habits are really, really hard to kick. And I've said this before. So for the average male, we need about 30 grams of sugar a day, being natural sugar. And for the average female, you're looking at about 25 grams of sugar a day. You don't need more than that. Okay, so if you're really trying to monitor your sugar intake, you should be trying to stay within those numbers, 25 to 30 grams of sugar a day. I wouldn't go much more than that. If you're having a problem with sugar, then yeah, I definitely recommend that you work with someone, whether it's me or whether it's with a dietitian or nutritionist, or you have another trainer that you're working with, whoever that can help you wean you off that, because that is the number one thing I look for when working with someone on a nutritional plan. Before I look at how much weight they need to lose or how much muscle they need to build, the first thing I zone in, and when someone sends me their own 3-day nutritional plan, what they've been doing before they work with me is how much sugar that person is consuming. And if they're consuming more than 40 grams of sugar a day, I know we're in trouble, and I know I got to guide them back down a little bit. Okay? Because you don't want to become diabetic, right? You don't want to have health issues into your 40s, your 50s, and so on. Like, you don't want to have health issues when you're in your 20s and 30s. And I worked with someone last year who actually became diabetic at 22 years old. So, I mean, this is serious shit. Like, something you got to really watch when you're reading your food labels. And that's why I always tell every single client, whether they're working with me on their nutritional plan or not, I say, you need to read food labels and know how to read them correctly. And the first thing you should be looking at is how many grams of sugar per serving are you consuming with that item that you're choosing. Before you look at carbs, before you look at fats, before you look at calories, the sugar, that's number one. So yeah, that's what I use. I incorporate more healthy fats. I lower processed sugars over time. I mean, it's a little bit more complex than, I can't just explain it over the Q&A. If you want to contact me, you definitely can, and I'll go over my protocols with you. But for now, guys, that's it for this week's Q&A. Remember, if you have any questions, feel free to email me, nickforeverfitperformance.com. You can also DM them to me on my Instagram at @fitcosgrove_. And again, I really appreciate all the feedback I'm getting on these Q&As and all the questions. I'm enjoying doing this. I'm going to keep doing this for as long as I can. But yeah, so if you have any questions, send them my way. I'm always happy to help. Anyway, guys, thanks for now. This episode should be going up on Monday evening. Thanks, everyone. Have a great night. Bye for now.